Well, hello everyone again. This is part 2 of Impact Based Stewardship. This is about assessing a parish and making some specific invitations. So our learning objectives. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to identify the 4 different rings in the Assessing Your Parish tool. And by the end of this lesson, you'll be able to develop specific invitations for each of the 4 rings in the Assessing Your Parish tool. Right, so just for review, impact-based stewardship is inviting others to give of their time, talent, and treasure to further events and programs that make a positive impact in the life of others. The assumption is people give to things that they believe make a difference in the world. So let's start off with some key definitions. So what is stewardship? An invitation to give of time, talent, and treasure towards something that makes a positive impact in the world. Now, time. Showing up and attending a church function. That is a gift. Talent. Volunteering and or providing leadership for a given function. And treasure. Making monetary or physical donations to further the good work of a ministry. So assessing your parish, here is a model that we're going to be working with. So the assumption of this model is that invitations are more effective when they are specific to the intended audience. Now, several authors have made use of a bullseye model to effectively engage and develop their local parish. You have Rick Warren in The Purpose-Driven Church, Robert Gallagher in Fill All Things, The Dynamics of Spirituality in the Parish Church, or Martin Thornton in Pastoral Theology, A Reorientation. So I've taken all of these models and made them put them together and made them specific for stewardship, which is what we're talking about right here. So in the outer ring, you have, I'll start with friends, families, and neighbors, and also satellite ministries, which these are indicated by the little circles in that outer ring. Each of those is a self-contained satellite ministry, something like Vacation Bible School or a food pantry or a trunk or treat, something like that. Next rung in, you have your occasional attendees. Then you have your regular attendees. And then at the very center, you have your core of a parish. And every parish has people in all of these areas. So let's give some descriptions. The core, these are the people that attend services regularly. They participate and volunteer in other activities of the parish regularly. And they make up probably 20% of your average Sunday attendance. And they give the majority of the pledged income. Then you have your regular attendees. They attend services regularly. They may or may not participate in additional activities, and they may or may not pledge, but most likely will give. Your occasional attendees. These are the folks that you see at major holidays and possibly a few other times during the year. And then your satellite ministries are outreach efforts of the church. They may involve some social times. They are designed for people that do not actively attend worship services. And they are wonderful sources of stories for positive impact. So some examples: Vacation Bible School, Trunk or Treat, Food Closet, etc., etc. So the general rules for invitations. An invitation ought to be specific. An invitation to someone in the core will be very different from an invitation to someone who comes for a satellite ministry. Invitations should come from established relationships whenever possible. Invitations should be personalized when possible. And invitations can be made to a person's current ring or possibly one ring deeper. Spend more time on the inner rings, building up a core that can support the outer rings. So some more general rules. We've all heard of the 80-20 rule. 20% of your people will provide 80% of the gifts of time, talent, and treasure. Now, I've often wondered also that perhaps we're not making the fullest use of this idea, the 80-20 rule. So let's say that maybe that's not 80%, but 20% of your people are providing 100% of the gifts of time, talent, and treasure. But what you could do is give some careful, specific attention to the 80%, and you could boost giving by about 20%, and that would be significant in the life of any parish. Invitations to the outer rings will lean more heavily on time, and as you move closer to the core, invitations will shift towards talent and treasure. So here's some specific rules for invitations. These are for our satellite ministries, friends, family, and neighbors. So this is the outermost ring. Invitations should focus mainly on time, inviting people to events. People can be invited to other satellite ministries appropriate to their situation. For example, Vacation Bible School participants may also benefit from trunk or treat or an Easter egg hunt. Invitations for talent can occur when the relationships are well established with other members of the church. Donations of treasure can be solicited, but must not be a condition of participating. Now, the amount of raised is likely to be small, but the main goal is to allow people to contribute to a ministry that is meaningful to them. So invitations can also be made to this group to join the church for major holidays. Christmas and Easter are always big ones. You could possibly extend that to Pentecost as well. Now, it can be very useful to have a database that you can gather and keep track of some important contact information. So let's move on to our occasional attendees. While not attending regularly, they are still a part of the church and may even be formal members. It can be helpful to keep them informed of what's happening in the church through newsletters and other communications. Special invitations for time can be made at major holidays, Christmas, Easter, and definitely you want to invite them to Pentecost, or for some special fellowship activities. And they can benefit from an every member canvas. The occasional attendees, through some established relationships, they may be invited to give talent towards a satellite ministry or some outreach activity. Gifts of treasure can be solicited for specific ministries and on major holidays, and this can provide a boost to your holiday giving. Again, if you have a database that can help you keep track of important information. So regular attendees. Together with the core, they make up the vast majority of Sunday attendance. They are making regular gifts of time through Sunday morning worship, and they can be invited to additional formation activities. They can be asked for gifts of talent towards parish activities, both volunteer and leadership, and they can be counted on for gifts of treasure. They may pledge, or they may not. They may be some of the people that give without pledging, and that's fine. They can benefit from an every member canvas, as well as regular updates regarding the state of the parish, and they may participate in an annual pledge drive. And then there's our core. Typically, the core is already giving of time, talent, and treasure. They are regularly present on Sundays and participate in additional formation activities. They often will volunteer and may provide leadership for parish activities, and these are the ones that can be counted on to pledge. Invitations should be specific to additional formation activities that will help them grow, and also having some practical skills to help them be effective in ministry. I want to take an aside here and talk about some online services, because for a variety of reasons, something I've noticed is that online services appear to cut across all rings in the model. Perhaps the convenience and accessibility is fostering some greater engagement. And this is still pretty new. We're about 18 months into this new world of online services and pandemic living. But it is something worth paying attention to, as the church moves into a post-pandemic world. And this may be an opportunity for a targeted online giving campaign distinct from the annual pledge drive. So some practical considerations. So how do you, or how can you keep track of the people in the various levels of your parish? And there's some possible database options, salesforce.com/nonprofit, there's netsuite.org, there's Tithely People, or their church management system. Both of those come from Tithely. If you have multiple databases, you can get something called an API, or an application programming interface, and that can help coordinate data across multiple databases, ensuring that they all have the most up-to-date information. So here's just some questions to ponder. So what satellite ministries does your parish offer? And how can you extend invitations to people of these ministries? What major holidays are celebrated? And what kind of invitations can be extended? Are there any special fellowship activities that people can be invited to? And to whom should the invitations be extended? And for the above, what invitations for talent and treasure can be extended? Some more considerations. Does your parish do an every member canvass? When and how? Does your parish do an annual pledge campaign? When and how? And if you're doing a every member canvass, it can be beneficial to separate the pledge campaign from the every member canvass by about 3 to 6 months. Another question, how does your parish keep its members informed of what's going on? What formation activities are present that nurture the core? And what kind of practical training is available to nurture gifts of talent? Right, that brings us to the end here. I hope you've enjoyed this discussion on impact-based stewardship and assessing your parish. So a couple more resources if you'd like to go into greater depth. These are all here. You can pause the video and get a good sense of them. We've got this page, and then there's some more here as well. Right. Again, I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you find it helpful, and have a great stewardship time.